Sometimes the stock will come across my screen, and I say to myself, how the heck is this thing doing so well? And that's how I feel about IMAX Corporation. We constantly hear that nobody goes to the movies anymore, right? Yet the stock of IMAX is up more than 60% over the past 12 months. So what the heck is going on here? Now, a lot of it comes down to how IMAX makes its money. Even if you've been to an IMAX theater, it almost certainly wasn't owned by them. They only own one location. Instead, this company sells or leases its theater systems and then collects more money from ongoing maintenance services. The multiplex owners need to sell movie tickets, right? But IMAX makes money as long as the theaters keep buying their gear, along with museums and science centers. And because movie theaters are desperate to sell these tickets, they are happy to spend money on IMAX because they can charge a premium for those tickets and people actually show up. That's why IMAX has been doing very, very well. It turns out 2024 was their second best year ever in terms of domestic box office. And they had a ton of success overseas, too. At the same time, the company produces its own IMAX documentaries that have been surprisingly successful, like Blue Angels and Amazon Prime. They've been digitally remastering old concerts for IMAX screens, like Queen Rock Montreal. That's a great Freddie Mercury performance, which has become one of the highest-grossing concert films of all time after its IMAX reboot. How about that? They're even working on sports coverage. So maybe it's not surprising that IMAX can put up excellent numbers. When the company last reported in April, it delivered a healthy top and bottom line beat, while the domestic box office actually fell 7% in the quarter for the broader movie business, hence why I was so confused that these guys could be doing so well. IMAX's worldwide box office was up 8% year over year. It was their best first quarter box office performance ever. No wonder the multiplex chains keep paying up for new IMAX theaters. The company's already signed agreements for over 100 new or upgraded systems year to date, which is very impressive considering they only signed 130 of those deals in all of 2024. As IMAX CEO Richard Gelfond put it on the conference call, quote, "The fundamentals of the business have never been stronger," end quote. Now, they're cleaning up in China, which has rapidly growing domestic movie business. Plus, IMAX collects higher fees in China for these local releases. Beyond China, IMAX sees growing opportunities for local language films across international markets like Japan and India. They also called out promising markets in Saudi Arabia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand. This sounds like a Netflix story. These local language films are making up a larger and larger percentage of business. After accounting for 12% of IMAX's total global box office in 2019, that number moved up to 21% in 2023. And in the first quarter of this year, it was 68% of the box office, though that was significantly impacted by some huge blockbusters in China. And business is also booming for IMAX here in the United States. IMAX theaters alone delivered 20% of domestic box office for Sinners, the highest grossing original IP in ages. While we don't have numbers for the second quarter yet, we know that some big 2025 releases, like the latest Mission Impossible, Superman, James Cameron's upcoming Avatar sequel, were all filmed specifically for IMAX. Next year, there's a new Star Wars, a new Dune movie, Christopher Nolan's version of The Odyssey, and even a new Toy Story, not a bad source of recurring revenue for Tom Hanks, as well as IMAX. In 2027, there's another Avengers, another Star Wars, another Batman, and Frozen 3. In an age of big-budget franchise movies, IMAX is king. IMAX is also expanding its presence in live sporting events. In March, they sold out tickets for a classic screening of Le Classique. That's the French soccer match between PSG and Marseille. Think of it as the soccer version of the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry. Exciting for IMAX, but not so much for Marseille fans. They lost 3-1. By the way, that's the scoreline that's equivalent of a blowout in the Super Bowl. Even better, IMAX doesn't sound worried about competition from streaming, because that's the big issue, right? Streaming platforms, no, they're not doing it. In fact, management points out that Netflix's new Narnia movie, due out next year, will have a theatrical release of 28 days, starting exclusively on IMAX screens. On top of that, Apple prioritized its IMAX release for securing a studio partner for F1, the movie which saw a $28 million opening weekend for IMAX. Now, looking ahead, IMAX is projecting $1.2 billion in box office this year, which would be a record for the company. IMAX will get a piece of that through revenue-sharing agreements with the movie theaters. But more importantly, the big box office numbers encourage the theater chains to spend more on IMAX systems. That's why the company installed 21 theaters in the first 3 months of the year. That's their second highest total ever for the first quarter. Plus, AMC plans to add 12 new IMAX locations and renovate nearly its entire IMAX footprint across the United States. In fact, Wedbush just upgraded AMC last week. AMC, yeah, lowly worm. precisely because it's got so much IMAX exposure, something that can help the movie theater chain defend its market share. If having lots of IMAX screens is enough to get your stock upgraded, it's a great reason for the movie theaters to buy some more. That said, the analysts acknowledge that, quote, they do not see substantial growth in 2025, 2026, or beyond for AMC, end quote. Personally, I wouldn't buy AMC stock. It's a money loser with a hideous balance sheet. Again, the movie theater business is in bad shape, with the exception of IMAX, which is why AMC stock is down over 40% for the past 12 months, while IMAX is up to, more than 60%. So don't overthink this one. If you want to invest in the movies, IMAX might be the smartest way to do it. Even though the stock trades at just under 25 times this year's earnings estimates, which is not exactly cheap, the fact is that IMAX is expected to put up 19% earnings growth this year and another 19% next year. Paying 25 times earnings for 19% growth, that's pretty good. Now, all that said, IMAX reports again on Thursday of next week, and while I'm optimistic about the quarter, expectations have gotten pretty high, wild high, some would say, as the stock rallied over 36% off its April lows. So if you don't have a position in IMAX already, but want to maybe put on a small position before the quarter, please wait to see how the report goes. It may be the stock will pull back and you can buy at a discount. Bottom line, at a time when the movie studios and the movie theaters are struggling, IMAX has tremendous momentum because it's proven to be the best way to sell tickets. If you're at all inclined to invest in the movie industry, IMAX seems like your best bet. Leonard in Wisconsin. Leonard.
Hey there, Jim. This is Leonard from Milwaukee. Hey,
how you doing, partner?
How you doing there?
I'm doing well.
Doing good. Hey, got a question to you about the mouse. Is Disney still a good stock to invest in?
Okay, Disney's had a real rip-snorting rally from the bottom, but it's still only up 6.8%. It's got a good movie slate coming. It only sells at 20 times earnings. The theme parks are doing incredibly well. I think the answer is absolutely. I think it's a very good long-term holding, and I encourage you to buy it right here, right now. All right, IMAX has seen tremendous momentum in an uncertain industry. I think you can start a small position here, but wait for the report to do anything big. Much more Mad Money ahead, including my exclusive with the CEO of Ollie's Bargain Outlet. With many retailers like Party City and Big Lots closing their doors, how does this position an off-price retailer like Ollie's? Real closeout. Don't miss my exclusive. Then everyone's in a race to be the biggest and best AI chatbot, right? I'm revealing the current state of play, and of course, I'm taking all your calls in rapid fire. Tonight's edition of the Lightning Round. So stay with Cramer.